How can he live in the belly of the fish for 3 days? That's impossible. No, he was dead because in Jonah 2, verse 2, he cried out from Sheol. And that word for Sheol is the abyss.
That's right. Yeah.
Where paradise was, where Abraham in his bosom, as well as Lazarus and the rich man when it was on the other side. But that was actually a resurrection. And that's when Jesus said, just like Jonah was in the belly of the fish 3 days, dead, so will the Son of Man be in the resurrection 3 days and come back.
Yeah.
So that was Jonah was the first sign of a resurrection, and so was the second sign. Jesus' resurrection was comparing to Jonah's resurrection as well.
The depth of Christian excusology knows no bounds. They are making these great leaps and bounds in order to justify their story, in order to make their story seem more palatable and more real, so that people will then make more connections than actually exist. So when you look at this story about Jonah and the whale or the fish, whatever it is, there are many excuses that Christians seem to be able to come up with. One of the first excuses is that where it says that God went to prepare a fish so that Jonah can survive in this whale. Many Christians believe that God completely reorganized and reoriented a great fish to be able to sustain life inside of the whale for Jonah, so that he can be there for 3 days without dying and suffocating and being killed by gastric acids, so that he can be spit up, because this God knew that he would cry out for him and that he would finally give in to this God's wishes and go preach to the people of Nineveh. So that is one excusology. This is most certainly the biggest excusology that I've heard concerning the Jonah story in a very long time. And that is the aspect that they are taking the hyperbole of Jonah's statement in chapter 2, verse 2, that he cried out from Sheol. So let me put it in a way that you can kind of realize what's going on here. When my grandmother passed away, I was in Israel, and I wanted to go home. I had a staff sergeant who was impeding my process of being able to go home to be at my grandmother's funeral. So one night when I saw that he was doing this, I was so distraught that I went out to the skin of the ship and I cried out from the depths of my soul so that I can go home and be at my grandmother's funeral. Did I actually go into my soul? Did I actually go into the depths of my soul? Or is that just a way of speaking to get you to understand the level of grief and anger that I was dealing with at that time, that I cried out from the deepest part of who I am so that I can go home with my desire to go home? So when Jonah cried out from Sheol, they're taking this this person is taking this as a literal thing, that he died and was in Sheol, and that when he was vomited up from the belly of this fish, then he was resurrected. And if you think about a person being resurrected, you would think that they would have a change of heart, a change of mind, be a totally different person. As your Jesus is said to have been through a transfiguration when this all happened to him. But no, that's not what happened with Jonah. He went on to Nineveh. He told the people of Nineveh that, hey, if you don't stop your evil ways and get down with my God, then you are going to be destroyed. According to the story, the people of Nineveh put on sackcloth and walked around in repentance for the evil atrocities that they had committed. And so they then therefore converted over, or, well, in the story, it says that they pretty much indicates that they were converted over. Jonah was so pissed because this God didn't destroy those people after they repented, that he sat and was burning from the sun. And then this God finally made a tree come out the ground to give him shade. Now, I want you to think about that. Jonah had no transfiguration within his story. So when the Jesus character was using the similarity of trying to compare him going into the grave for 3 days to Jonah being in the belly of the fish for 3 days, it was not a comparison of resurrection. He was just saying that just like Jonah was in the belly of the fish for 3 days, so too shall the Son of Man be in the grave for 3 days. Not the same thing, not the same idea, but to give you a reference so that the people who were listening at that time frame would have that understanding, because they would have known, knew the story of Jonah. Now, I'm not indicating that the Jesus character actually died and was resurrected. There is no death and resurrections for anyone. If a person actually dies, not an NDE, not a near-death experience, but actually dies, they do not come back. No one has ever come back from death. Near death, sure. Comatose, sure. But once the brain dies, you're dead. Once it's gone, you're dead, and all kinds of dead. No one has come back from that. No one ever has come back from that. But the Jonah story, we already know, is an impossibility and implausible as well. That the fact that they would do this. And we also know that at no time in the history of Nineveh is there any recordings from the people of Nineveh that they converted over to Christianity. If you actually go to Iraq and research go and look at all the writings of the people of Nineveh, the Assyrians, what you see is zero transformation, zero conversion from their belief in their God El, who was married to Asherah. There's no conversion to the belief in the Israelite God. If Jonah had done this, there would have been a conversion, and then the Assyrians would not have continued to conquer and subdue the Israelite people. But they did, destroyed them, only left Jerusalem as a vassal state to the Assyrian Empire intact. The rest of the cities in the northern Israel were destroyed, were conquered. So these people will go to great lengths in order to validate or try to validate their story. But at the end of the day, they are placing faith over facts all the time. And this is why we deconstruct from this book, because we recognize that this excusology that they love to use here is just something that they utilize to amplify their cognitive dissonance to be able to remain in this religion and keep their emotional attachments. But we have deconstructed, and that's why we recognize the folly of such creators and such people. And y'all have a great day, and remember always, you have to free yourself to be yourself, because your greatness is non-negotiable. Good journey, good vibrations.